Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Lizard Podcast. Today I have a back-to-back. I think it's episode 55 I'm doing with this fine lady right here. Now it's episode 7. And my wonderful friend, Debra Blackman from the UK. And today she wants to talk about something that is very dear to her, very passionate. And that is, she will tell us in a moment. You mentioned that you wanted to talk about something that you want to talk. So let's talk about that, Deborah. So first of all, welcome back to back times 6, 7. I don't know. And then the podcast. So welcome back, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And yes, I wanted to do this now because this is something that happened to me yesterday. And I wanted to let your listeners know how on my journey I have turned something that would have really brought me down for like weeks and weeks. And what I'm using and the technique that I'm doing to now be back bouncing with an open heart, the energy is flowing because of the awareness that I now have in the present moment of what I need to do. So if it's okay with you, Payman, I'd love to share.
Absolutely. Listen, the podcast is about making you shine bright and you're shining. I'm just the host. So don't mind me talk about whatever you want to talk and share your gifts.
Lovely.
Fire away.
Okay. So a number of years ago, I had something happen to me that I'm not proud of, that I don't talk about, and that is something which I had to do, but there was something that I needed to do this thing for. And anyway, I put it to the back of my mind. In fact, actually, the big things in my life I tend to forget about, which is odd, but that's what happens. It buries down deep in my subconscious. Now, I have been going on this journey about knowing myself, becoming self-aware, becoming familiar. I have been feeling waves of bliss, elation, joyousness, etc. And yesterday, I experienced something that came over the internet. It was a message from somebody else on somebody else's video channel. And the subject of it was exactly the thing that I had managed to bury deep in my subconscious. And when I read it and I watched it, I felt sick. I felt panicky. I felt all of those things which I've known only too well over my life. I wasn't worthy. I was ashamed. I felt that I couldn't cope, that I couldn't carry on with my journey because how could I be forgiven? And what would happen as a result of doing what I've done, etc., etc. Anyway, I really felt really, really bad about it. And before I would have gone into a spiral of negativity, of depression, of just giving everything up because of this challenge. And this time, because I've been deploying meditation, which when we look at those words and what it means, is to become familiar with. So let's dispel any kind of woohoo about meditation. All it is that we've become familiar with something. And in this case, familiar with ourselves when we meditate on ourselves and our feelings. And I would have run away from this feeling and buried it back deep again and tried to carry on my life. But this time I knew I had to triumph over this feeling, out of this emotion. And it's a big thing. And the way I did it was to become the observer of my own emotion. So I took the heat, the anxiety, the stress, everything that was making me go into kind of like physical and mental lockdown and obsess about it, I kept open and I assumed the position of an observer inside of me. And what that enabled me to do is sit with that feeling. Now, I've got a phobia of snakes, and I don't know where it came from. Some people have spiders or other things like that, but mine are snakes. anything that's long and without legs. I mean, it makes me kind of want to gag, and I come out, my palms start to sweat, literally. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to get away. Even if it's a picture or I see it in a film or on the TV, I can't look at it. I just literally have to pretend it's not there. So what I've been doing with that is I've been thinking about snakes and worms and things without legs in a much more different, that we're all part of the oneness, that we're all part of God's creation, that we are sentient beings to an extent. And if that's part of this wonderful creation, and thinking of their little lives going on and experiencing what they do, and that they've got little friendly faces, and I've been changing in my head, in my mind's eye, I've been practicing visualizing snakes and touching them as if they were real. Yep. And that, weirdly enough, I looked at a picture of a snake the other day, and I didn't have that revulsion, I didn't have that fear, I didn't have that panic. And I made myself touch the picture of the snake. And I just kept on thinking with love in my heart, this is a creature of the world. This is on our wonderful earth. This has every right to be here. It's not going to hurt me. It's a picture. And I've been desensitizing myself. And I thought, right, I'm going to use this mechanism to use this on my emotion that I felt when I saw this video. So I sat with it. And each time I wanted to run away, each time I wanted to bury the feeling, I hugged my inner child. I held it close, my inner child close to me, the image of little Debra that was crying and unhappy. And I hugged it and I said, you are loved. And let's go through this feeling and emotion together so we don't have to compass it again. Well, I didn't do it last night. I tried to meditate and it wasn't happening. And I felt closed. I couldn't bring the love in my heart. I felt withdrawn, and it was like, oh, okay, keep that. Don't overthink it. Just sit with the emotion. If that's how I feel, acknowledge it and understand, what is this emotion trying to teach me? What is the lesson that I have to learn? And let it come in a way that might be spontaneous, that I might not be able to manufacture, so that I know it's real. Anyway, carried this on to this morning. Got up, still had this feeling. It's okay. It's okay to have the feeling. I kept on telling myself, it's like the snake. Just go and say, take the fear out of the feeling. Just observe it and say it's there for a reason. What is the reason why I'm feeling this way? Why am I feeling so deeply? Why am I thinking of not carrying on with my spiritual journey? What has rocked me? Why has this challenge come up now? Just then put it to the back of my mind. Just let it sit there. And then this morning, I went on your training. And then I saw the hope for the future. I saw the brightness. I saw the light. I saw the lovely lady Juliana who was on there. I saw yourself all coming together to be with me, to support me, to help me on my journey. And all of a sudden, that feeling of anxiety, stress, self-loathing, self-doubt, shame, you name it, I'd had it all. I began to think, there's the reason that I have to now go through this to be able to come out the other side, to be the person that is already in my future and to manifest it now. And I have to say, Payman, thank you so much for your wonderful gift of generosity on your course. This is going to be my mouthpiece. Thank you so much for bringing me together with Juliana, who is a soul sister. I felt that the minute that she started to speak, the moment she spoke, I thought, and I saw the pictures that she'd done, and it just confirmed she's a great painter. And what I wanted to share now was that these tests, these challenges, the more we become on a journey, these challenges will arise. They're not just going to disappear. And it made me think, because I was getting super happy, super joyous, super whatever. And I like to think that there wasn't ego involved. But maybe there was a little bit of ego that just had to be stopped before it got going. And that's why this message that came on this video manifested itself. There was a reason. It didn't happen randomly. It happened because it needed to happen at that time to keep me in check. It needed to see, how much do I want to be on this journey as a leader with a heart? What am I putting behind this to strengthen my resolve, to push through the difficult moments, to push through things that in the past I would have run away from, denied ever existed, forgotten about because it was too much to think about, thought of everything else as to why it wasn't my fault, blamed other people, blamed circumstance, blamed lack of knowledge, rather than, this is my life. I have the control to do what I want in my life. However I act, whatever set of circumstances is up to me. I can react positively, or I can react negatively, or I don't have to react at all. And then I'm learning that ultimately these tests, and it was Juliana who said it on our call, the greater the test, the bigger the possibilities, the better the results. And it's just like, whoa, could I have made that up? Could I have put that into a scenario to say, right, well, today on this training, I'm going to be speaking with a lady who no way. This has come as I asked for it to, in a way that would surprise me, that would come out of the blue, that would lift me up and realize I'm okay, I'm allowed to make mistakes. I can make pretty big ones as well, which I made at that point in my life. I'm not an evil person. I'm trying to get through my life as best I can. But now I have more wisdom. Now I have more understanding. I can work through those things that I'm not proud of, that before I would have felt guilty and shame. And actually, you know what? That's okay, because I'm me and I'm on my journey. And what is it in the world if the world can't forgive? And the person that has to forgive is me. I have to forgive myself. I have to understand what I did in that moment that I can never take back, but ultimately that I can send love to follow through with it, that I can say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, to the other people that it affected, but actually to myself. And that's why I wanted to share, because it was absolutely directly relevant. The reason why my heart is singing, I am joyful. I understand from this moment onwards that actually these things manifest themselves in ways that you just cannot plan for. And if it's the negative side manifesting, sit with the feeling, understand that it's trauma. It's like post-traumatic stress. It comes out, all the same feelings came out of my body, which is where I'd locked it in. And now I know that that test won't come back because I've unraveled it, I've taken the knots out of it, and it doesn't exist anymore because it's never going to come up in the present tense like it did before, because it's healed. So thank you, Payman. It's been, and it always is, such a pleasure to have interaction with you, because again, we don't know what other people are taking from us, or the energy that they are able to fuel themselves with and become better as a result. A few words, a few sentences, being with somebody else, doing something different. And that's again something that I would highlight here for me, is I haven't really ever thought about leaning in. I've heard it, I've done it to things that haven't really made that much impact in my life, but this had. So this was my test, and it built up to it to say, can you handle the big stuff? Does this work for the big deal? And I can honestly say for me on this journey that it does. And so I'd say I'm a normal person, living my life in a normal way. If it can do it for me, it can do it for others as well.
Wow, beautiful. Wow. I'm speechless. I'm beyond honored. Thank you. And, it takes two to tango. You were ready to receive that kind of information, that kind of guidance or inspiration. And then once you open yourself to that possibility, then the universe brought the right people, the right circumstances by magic. And this is what I realized myself experience. When you set your intention out there, especially if it's to do good, then the universe works for you on your behalf in magical, secret ways that honestly defy any logic. And there's certain things that we're not meant to understand. You just accept it, surrender to it, and just go with the flow. And these are one of those things. Nothing comes randomly. Everything happens for a reason at the right time. And you, first of all, saying yes to being part of this podcasting at Profitable Academy with me. And then you opening up, that was part of you allowing yourself to get your gift out there, to share your story. And then in the process, once you allowed that opening, the universe brought you the right people. Like, for example, Juliana. Yes, Juliana signed up for the program back at the end of January, but she couldn't attend the calls because they were 2 o'clock in the morning because she was going through some personal issues herself. And then she messaged me last week, say, hey, I followed up with her, say, can you join us for next class in April? She said, what time is it? She said it's going to be 8 o'clock in the morning here, 8 in the US. Doesn't work for us. And I asked her, would you like me to do it in the afternoon for you? She said yes. And then out of the blue, not out of the blue, but you said yes. Said, perfect. I have two wonderful ladies at the same time in Europe. That's why I messaged you last night. Said, can we do that this time? So we can have, I really, really insisted because I wanted both of you to be together because more fun with more people. And also I felt that deep down that putting you and Juliana together could be some magic because even though I don't know Juliana as much as I know you, we've had numerous conversations with her. I had just one conversation back in April. Sorry, not April, and at the end of January. She joined right away the academy, but she wasn't able to do the course because of whatever reasons. And then, as I said, everything happens for a reason at the right time, and the timing was perfect. I can't wait for you to meet now Suzanne. She's equally amazing, equally inspiring. And she's in the US on the West Coast. And that's why I created a chat group for the three of you guys. So again, it all started because you opened the possibility in your mind. You cleared the bandwidth, the frequency, the vibration, whatever you want to believe in your mind. I learned that myself. And for new energy, new people, new opportunities to come in, you have to, number one, close the ones that don't work and open yourself to the possibility to clear space for new blood, for new energy, for new inspiration to come in. Because if you're not cleared the space already, they're not going to be able to fit. It's going to be a mess. But once you clear it, that's when the new energy comes in. And I credit has to go to you ultimately, Debra, because you were the one that did the work. You were the one that did all the deep work internally for yourself, and the universe conspired to bring us together, first of all, through John Donnelly. God bless his heart. I'm going to message him right after this. And then through our numerous conversations over the last 2, 3, 4 months. And again, you did the hardest part, which was to open yourself to that possibility. And then the universe brought me. And then Juliana, and who knows, just like Juliana said, once you open one door, a whole new world opens up in front of you.
But you see sorry to interrupt you because I've just had another light bulb moment. I've been having them all morning, and this means that I'm in the right frequency because Juliana should have been on the call in January and the training in January, and she couldn't. So the engineering of this, and this is why I say to people, if you want to have something to manifest, don't put your own constructs as to think, well, this is going to happen and this happens and now this happens, and I tell you what, because you cannot
Or this has to happen that
make this
way.
up.
No, yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't do this. She was going through something herself, so she was there when the universe knew that I needed her. The universe, or call
And
it what
she
you
needs
will, has
you.
engineered it so that within less than a few minutes of being on your training this morning, my heart just went boom. I mean, literally, it just whoosh, the floodgates opened, because she said those words and you were there to support me. And it was just like, oh. So what I would say to people is this: when we want to manifest something, and I love the whole thing about creation and co-creation, is the universe is perfect. The energy frequencies are perfect. We have to get, as you say, the space in ourselves to be able to receive it. But we also need to trust,
Mm-hmm.
And not be impatient, because as I said last night, didn't matter what I did, this feeling wasn't going to go away. It was just going to hound me all night. It did hound me all night. I had some really weird dreams. And I woke up with it like a big, heavy, black, wet, stinking cloud over me this morning. And this was in such stark contrast to what I had been feeling. Light, joy, energy, peace, abundance, you name it. It was like, whoa. And then boom, it all changed in like a nanosecond. And that didn't not happen for a reason. And this video was there to challenge. And now I'm learning that if I trust and I go, okay, right, interesting, as an observer, try and get myself out of this negative energy situation, this cycle. But as an observer, it is an emotion. It's not wrong or right or good or bad. It is what it is. And then with the intention, with the truest trusting intention and desire, and asking, you could call it praying, that please, universe, give me a sign, help me through this, and then letting it go and trusting that something will happen. Now, I'm an ordinary person. I don't go around having I can't hear any other sort of audio or clairvoyant. I'm just a normal person. But the fact is of being normal in itself is that we're extraordinary. The more I'm learning, the power that is in human beings is just phenomenal.
Staggering. Yeah.
We're only using a teeny weeny bit of
They're saying we're
what
using
we are
5% of
capable
our
of.
capabilities. They're saying we're using only 5% of
Probably,
our brains and capabilities.
probably.
Just
And
wanted to do one thing before I forget it. That's beautiful. And also remembering what you shared in your first few episodes with me and with us, you were prior to that used to want to control everything. You want to control everything. And now you went from completely surrendering and trusting the process. How liberating is that? And then look at Juliana. 2 hours ago, you didn't even know her, that she even exists. And now, within a matter of just an hour spent with her, bam, she may become a partner in crime for you, so to speak, in a positive way, you know?
Well, it's just, this is the whole, yes, absolutely, 100%, in that if we want things to happen, we can't think the way in which it's going to happen. We have to put ourselves into the future state with the emotions that go with that, ask, and then go, right, I trust, I let go, I surrender. I've been using the word the two words I surrender a lot. And it feels so good, because in my 5% little bit of me, how can I ever expect to be able to plot outcomes successfully when it's just, as you say, this tiny little bit that I can bring into that whole process? Why not let the amazing, perfect, all-being universe do it, because it's much more powerful than me. I mean, it literally can move mountains. It can, I mean, you look at what happens in nature, good
Create
and bad.
mountains,
You
destroy
know,
mountains, everything.
absolutely. So if it can do that, if I surrender to it and trust it and love it, knowing that it's got my best interests at heart, whoa, that's truly phenomenal. And bringing it back, because I always like to bring it back into the practical, I can use this now in my business. I can use the challenge. I can use the things that happen in my business life and also in my personal life, which this was, to strengthen that of my business and the people around me in that sphere as well. So it's something that can be used to kind of, how much energy have I used on it as I perhaps would have done in the past? I would have been in that state, I don't know for how long. All that energy, all of those negativity, then how I treat people as a result, how I treat people myself, and then it spirals down. And literally in less than 24 hours, something that has been with me for years has just gone boom, gone. And the energy, well, one night of not very good sleep, as opposed to night after night after night after day after day after night of feeling anxious, depressed, vulnerable, and self-hatred. Well, I think I'm getting the message now, which one
Oh,
I'd
yes.
rather choose.
The messages,
So
we cannot, and that's one thing I also used to struggle with. I wanted to be on top of everything. I needed to know everything, to control everything, and by extension, everyone. And I realized very shortly that this is not a feasible or viable way to continue. That's not going to happen. Even if you're the most powerful man in the world, you can't control everything at the same time and just beyond our capacity, abilities. So instead, surrender the process, trust that everything is happening for your best, highest interest. Put your intention out there, and if it's meant to be, it will happen. If it's not meant to be, it will still work out fine for you, for your highest best interest. And once I understood that, and understanding that life is a school, everything happens for us, not to us, and I completely surrounded to everything and just go with the flow. And it's very,
yeah,
very liberating. As opposed to
totally
always the weight
liberating.
of, oh, I can't control this. Why am I getting frustrated, getting pissed off for no reason?
Yeah, yeah. Payman, my friend, thank you. Thank you for letting me have a shorter little chat with you today, because I just didn't
Always.
want this moment to
This was
go
beautiful.
and not
This was
use it.
beautiful.
So,
This was beautiful.
so
Thank you
thank you.
for opening up your heart and opening up yourself to the phenomenal, unlimited, endless possibilities that lie within you. Thank you for, and when I say thank you, it's not me speaking, is my higher self speaking to you at your higher self. Thank you for allowing the highest version of Debra to finally come out of her shell, and bless the world. And the world, I mean, not only the world, but also all your future clients, customers, people that will benefit from you, just waiting for you to shine and to stop playing small and to go and make the impact that you're destined to do in this world. So thank you for that on behalf of my higher self to your higher self. And by extension, from little me to little you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, my darling. I'll speak to
You're
you
welcome.
soon. Thank
Keep
you.
shining your light,
Bye
my friend.
now.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.